Hello, how are you? Hope you're doing good. A couple of videos ago, I recommended a video about Tavistock, the Tavistock Institute. And the person that was interviewed recommended a book by Dr. John Coleman. And I bought it. This is the book. About halfway through. Very, very, very good information. Valuable. And believe me, you need to read it. It shows so clearly how, should I say, humankind, specifically the Western world, has been manipulated and brainwashed and controlled, programmed. First World War, he describes how this institute was responsible for the propaganda of the First World War, the Second World War, and every war afterwards. This institute is located in England, but early on, and it was of course financed in England, and at first the Crown and the Rothschilds, they financed it. But later, of course, people also that supported it came from the United States, and especially during the First World War, the U.S. President Woodrow Wilson used this propaganda to get the people of the United States to enter the First World War and then the Second World War and, of course, the other wars as well. The book is called The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, of course, by Dr. John Coleman. You can find that on Internet Archive for free. I bought my book because, yeah, I think it's extremely important to have it. Pretty big eye-opener. Now, you know, my videos are about end times prophecy. And people, if you want to understand end times prophecy and how everything fits together, this is definitely the book to read. I made a lot of videos, and you should probably just look them up. Today is not a Bible study. You know, under the beast system, or what did I have? I don't remember. Antichrist. So you understand the players, the biblical players of the end times. So you have an idea how to put this information into Bible prophecy. How the beast has been controlling and manipulating and programming the masses. So they go along with the plan. Many times I have said the 3 world wars, and I'm talking about 3 world wars because that's what Pike planned or predicted, were planned. Like the first 2 were definitely planned, and if you see this or read this Tavistock Institute of Human Relations book, you can see how it was planned and why. You can understand maybe a little bit why it was planned. He brings out a lot of course, facts that he has collected, studied in libraries and archives. But really, when you look at historically what happened, yeah, it's not too hard to understand what happened. You can see what happened. It was obvious in newspapers and the media because they were used to manipulate the masses. And then you continue in history, and the same tactics, the same techniques were continued. He used the First World War, tactics in the First World War, and compared it, to the 9/11 and Iraq War. Same techniques. And of course, this book was written in 2006, so he couldn't write you too much about October 7th. I think it was October 7th when the Israeli-Gaza war started, if it even is considered a war. A war is waged by two armies, and the Palestinians don't have an army. So what is it? He also mentioned that. How can it be a war? No, he didn't mention the Gaza war because it was too early. But the same techniques again were used by Netanyahu and in Israel. Same techniques they used to get the U.S. into the war, First World War, and into the Second World War. They always used same kind. We have been brainwashed, and can I say brainwashed? I think so. Programmed, if you want a nicer word, since before the First World War, because that's when the media started, and they could use media, like newspapers, right? Big thing, newspapers, flyers. Maybe it started sooner with the printing press, who knows? And then the radios and so on. People, you need to read this book. Then you understand how this whole thing has been planned and programmed for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Of course, who's behind it? He doesn't tell you who's behind it. He thinks it's a committee of 300. That's what he believes. And I want to read his book about the Committee of 300. He wrote a book about that too. Yeah, the Committee of 300. Supposedly, that's who's behind it. But people, if you know my videos, my studies about end times prophecy, the beast, and Babylon the Great, what so many call, Antichrist, but really it's the man of sin. You understand how things fit together, and this is the way they this is how they control the masses and manipulate the masses. And where are the plans coming from? From these 300? No. I'll guarantee you that amongst those 300, committee of 300 are fallen angels. I'm almost certain. People, I recommend, I know my videos don't go out there. Please share them. Share them. This is something that we need to research. This is something we need to be informed about, because it all fits together. Now, this guy is not going deep enough. He just, again, stops with the worldly powers. He doesn't understand there is fallen angels, that he doesn't even address here the Vatican and the Jesuits. How they, who knows, are most likely behind this Tavistock Institute. Yeah, they make it look like the British crown is behind it, and the money people, and who knows who else. Of course, yeah, it looks like that, because who came out victorious after the First World War? Well, I shouldn't say victorious, but they the winner. The Second World War was, of course, Britain and the US. But really, Britain. Britain was the instigator. But again, who is Britain controlled by? If we know that the Catholic Church always controlled everything, well, okay, can we go there? Can we go there? That maybe behind the crown is really not the Church of England, but the Vatican. That's my assumption. I don't have any research into it at this point. If you do, let me know. That's just really a theory. But yeah, because here it is. This has been a plan that's been going on for hundreds of years, going back to before the First World War. And I'll guarantee it was there even before that. I have said before with some of my videos that really the reason why, and he brings it up a little bit, the Kaiser had to go, and the Tsar had to go, who both of them were actually cousins of the crown. So the king at that time, George, I believe. He said that wrong. If you read the book, Victoria was not the cousin of the Kaiser, the Emperor of Germany, but her grandson, I think George, was. The Kaiser was the grandson of Victoria as well, and so was actually the Tsar. Unbelievable history, and yet the English came out destroying both the Kaiser and the Tsar during the First World War. Purposely doing it because of the propaganda of Tavistock. You should read what they did, what kind of propaganda they spread during the First World War to make Germans look bad and to get Americans and the British to support the war. The same kind of propaganda they did during the Second World War, but he didn't describe it. Why? Because they used the Holocaust to draw the people into the war. Of course, more than that. Also, Pearl Harbor. But the same propaganda again was used with 9/11 to bring or to support the war in Iraq, who had really nothing to do with anything. And then, what was it? Afghanistan. You have to read it to understand. Because again, this propaganda is continued. The same exact things. And when I hear it, my flags just go up. When I listen to Netanyahu and his war propaganda, the way he portrays the Palestinian people, he does the same thing. Oh yeah, it's again, we're using babies, young families, to make these people look bad. Well, it's Hamas, but Hamas is using all the, Palestinian people. And so we're going to have to destroy all of the Palestinian people. It's nothing new. They have been doing this since before the First World War. Man, people, you need to, read this book. I'll be also reading this next book or another book, the Committee of 300. I'm going to order that next. Because it all fits together. Now, of course, he is a worldly person. And again, I don't know in how much he is used. Okay, I don't know. Because Satan always gives us a certain amount of knowledge. But he never gives us the whole amount. And so we have to be careful. We have to continue to research. But it's obvious, it's obvious, the propaganda techniques or the brainwashing techniques, programming techniques they're using, it's the same thing over and over again. And they have the experts, the psychologists that they have been using, like Bernays. If you know Bernays, is it Edwin, or something like that? Bernays, he's already dead. And others. And of course, what all the research they have done in the United States about mind control. The MK Ultra mind control. It all falls under that. How can I manipulate the masses? How can I get them to support just anything? Just anything, people. What do I have to do to get them to agree with almost anything? We have to be alarmed. And we have to be aware of what's going on and how we are manipulated and constantly manipulated. And the reason, the worst part is he even just one little sentence. Who gets manipulated? Through what? Not only education, the media. Okay, media. Oh my goodness, media is a big one, right? And don't think it's just done today. No. My generation, people grew up in front of the TV. It was the big thing, right? During my generation, and people, especially in the United States, they grew up, they ate in front of the TV. They were brainwashed. They were programmed. And not only media, but then they go to school all day and get programmed there as well. Oh, how? Yes, think about it. Think about how people get programmed in school. So they go to school all day, come home, or even in the morning, they're already watching TV. This programming was already kind of put into all the movies, all the kids' programs. Sesame Street. That's already how it started. And then they go to school, they get more program, they come home, continuing the program. And then they go to church maybe on Sundays, and believe it or not, even there it continued, and he said that. He said that. That even in the schools, the program continued, and he mentioned one important theology that was used, called, you tell me, what is the theology that I constantly use or harp on? Dispensationalism. And he mentioned Darby, and I think he spelled him wrong. I think he spelled him D-E-R, but it's Darby. Yeah. Dispensationalism. Why? Because, see, not only does dispensationalism get end times wrong, but it also started Christian Zionism. Do you understand? This is how they got the support of the so-called Christians. At this point, these so-called Christians that are Christian Zionists are not Christians anymore. I had somebody asking me, "Oh, are you a Christian?" And I told the person, "I cannot tell you that." "Well, you have to." And I said, "Well, I don't know. What do you consider? Give me a definition." Because everybody calls themselves Christian. Again, they call themselves Christian Zionists. No, they're not Christians. A Christian is somebody who really follows only Jesus. A Christian Zionist doesn't follow Jesus. He deceives, or he denies Jesus. Why? Because they follow the Jewish principles. You cannot follow two masters. The main thing about dispensationalism are the various dispensations, how people are saved. According to dispensationalism, the Jews are saved, or the Hebrews are saved differently than the Gentiles. And that's false. From the time of Adam and Eve, we are all saved through Jesus Christ. Adam and Eve knew Jesus would come. Abraham, that's why he was chosen by God to bring forth Messiah, is because he believed God that Messiah would come. Everybody else didn't believe it. And then even the 12 tribes, they didn't all believe it. And even the Hebrews didn't all believe it. But that's what we have in people. We are all saved the same way through Jesus Christ. Jews are saved, or the Hebrews are saved before Jesus came because they believed he would come. They waited for him. That's what Daniel is all about. That's what the prophets are all about. Because they preached him. That's why Jesus said, if you would believe, or Moses, because they were bragging, we're Moses, or even Abraham's children. If you would believe Abraham and Moses and the prophets, you would know who I am. But you don't. You don't. Same way. And then he came, and they're still not believing him. They're still even persecuting the believers of Christ. As they do. So we are all saved the same way, through grace. But dispensationalism doesn't teach that. And because they don't teach that, they split up Jews and Gentiles, and they still say, oh, the Jews still have some time left. Oh, and we have to bless the Jews instead of Abraham. Oh, no, we have to bless the Jews. None in the Bible. Oh, they are still God's people. No. God's people are those people that follow the plan of God. Jesus said, or John actually in 1 John chapter 2 said, if you do not believe in the Son, you don't believe in the Father. That's what John said. They don't follow the Father like so many believe. If you don't believe in the Son, you don't believe in the Father. You don't follow the Father. So no, who are they following? I don't know. I don't know. And these people, these so-called Christians, Zionist Christians, which we have, we have most of them in the church because most of them were taught dispensationalism. That's what we have. Yeah, we have some now that are leaving that belief and they are running into some other false teachers. It doesn't matter, really, because one is worse than the other, I guess. They're not really searching for the Bible. They're just leaving the camps and they're being misled again. But yeah, you're thinking about how in the world have all these Protestant churches been deceived to believe in this dispensationalism? Because of propaganda. And where did that propaganda come from? Or mind control techniques, programming techniques, where are they coming from? Tavistock. Well, people say, what? Really? Yeah, because it's a plan. It's a world plan for dominion. They're trying to get as many people as they can. And who is behind it? Oh, the Committee of 300? Think again. Who is this, or who is controlling this Committee of 300? It's the fallen angels. I mean, absolutely. The fallen angels. Really, I mean, if you don't believe that, yes, this guy is a worldly guy. My videos are about end times prophecy. And you're going to have to see how in the world this information fits in with Bible prophecy. Is it important that we do know it? How Satan manipulates us? Oh no, we're going to close our eyes. All we do is we're going to close our eyes and say, oh no, he doesn't exist. Same thing with the demons, same thing with the fallen angels. They don't exist. They're not doing anything. They're on vacation. But this is showing us how in the world they're manipulating us. And everything is built on this, believe me. That's why I'm always saying it doesn't matter what side, political side you're on. They are both used in this game, in this manipulation, propaganda, mind control, programming game. It doesn't matter, people. Doesn't matter. We are all programmed. We have all been programmed. Because we're not aware of it. I have not been aware of it. And that's why I was programmed. For some reason, I know there's something in my brain, and again, is it the Holy Spirit that is protecting me from falling for these things? It's like there's a red flag. There's always like beam, like a light bulb that's just blinking and saying, wait a minute, it can't be. Look at this. He's doing the very same thing. Very same thing. Anytime somebody makes somebody look like a monster, you should think, wow, is that person really a monster? Are they being used for something again? And I'm not saying people can't be monsters. Look at the horrific and horrible things that were done, or that he explained that the English did and the Americans to the German people. Twice. And people, they're going to do it third time. Why? Because there's going to be a third world war. And who is going to be again sacrificed in Europe? It will be Germany. There's no doubt in my mind. They wanted to destroy the German people after the Second World War. They wanted to just totally destroy them. And, oh well, they gave them another, not a chance, but they used them. They used them for work animals, you know. Who is the driving force, financial force in Europe today? No, but Europe couldn't even exist without Germany. The financial support of Germany. Oh, they used Germany again, they knew it. But again, the Third World War will come because they are planning it. They're planning it right now. They're putting everything in place. They're manipulating the whole situation. So the people, the masses, are going to be ready. Again, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. And especially people, if you're going to any churches, I'll guarantee you're being brainwashed. You're being controlled and you're being manipulated. Especially if you're going to a church that supports Israel. I don't know how anybody can really justify that. I don't know. How can they justify what Israel is doing right now? I'm not talking about the Jewish people. Not at all. And what are they doing today? What kind of propaganda are they using today? Especially Trump. Oh, don't you dare to say anything against Israel because, hey, you're going to be thrown in jail. Or we're going to cut your funding. That's what they say to the colleges. Oh, that's considered anti-Semitism if you say anything against Israel. It's a propaganda. It's a mind control. It's programming. And how many have been mind controlled, or how many people in the churches, so-called Christians, have been mind controlled to think they have to vote for a certain person? How much has one side been controlled so these people have to only be able to vote for this side? And I mean, and how far was Biden and Harris controlled, programmed to play a certain game so people had no other choice but to vote for Trump? Because they still think, oh, we have to vote. It's our duty as a Christian to vote. I don't see that anywhere. Actually, no, you can find it in Romans 13. And still, I'm not so sure if originally Romans 13 was actually in the Bible, or if it was been manipulated. And people say, oh no, the Bible can't be manipulated. 2,000 years, 1,500 years alone, the Bible was copied by hand and was in total control of the Roman Catholic Church. You don't think something could have happened? Oh my goodness. See, that's where people are absolutely maybe what? They are naive. That's the word, naive. People, we need to wake up. I'm coming to an end. I've been saying enough. This is an important video. It's an important book. Get some information. Again, I don't believe everything the guy is saying. But you can see it. You can experience it yourself. You know what happened in history. I have enough information to see, yep, this happened. Anyways, you can find this book on Internet Archive, Tavistock Institute of Human Relations by, what's the guy's name? John Coleman. People, coming to an end, let the Holy Spirit guide you always.